Have you ever felt like you're locked in a relentless battle with your own mind? No matter how fiercely you push, laziness, distraction, and those familiar excuses keep pulling you back. Now imagine waking up one day and realizing it doesn't have to be this hard. Conquer yourself, and you conquer the world. This isn't just a motivational phrase, it's a powerful system practiced by ancient Buddhist monks, a mental paradigm so transformative it turns discipline into a natural flow, no force, no burnout, just effortless momentum. Here's the real insight. The struggle isn't because you're weak, it's because no one ever taught you the right way. So ask yourself, what if your mind could obey not through sheer willpower but through deep understanding? In this video, I'll unveil a timeless method, long buried, but profoundly effective. Learn it, and everything changes. If you take away just one thing from this, let it be this. That's the essence of mastering life. And don't miss the bonus lesson at the end. It will challenge everything you thought you knew. Discipline is an internal war. Your mind is a battlefield cloaked in silence, and the enemy wears your face. Every morning a silent war begins, not outside but within. It's not your alarm clock, your workload, or your responsibilities blocking your progress. It's the soft, seductive voice inside you whispering, "Just 5 more minutes. You'll do it tomorrow. This is too hard." That voice is your lower self, and every time you listen, you lose ground. But here's the game changer. Discipline isn't about forcing action. It's about waking up from the illusion that comfort is your friend. Buddha taught that suffering doesn't come from the world. It comes from attachment. Attachment to ease, escape, and fleeting relief. Relief is not peace. Rule your mind, or it will rule you. This isn't metaphor. It's a strategic imperative. Your mind is a storm of selves. Buddhist practice reveals the mind isn't one voice. It's a storm of competing selves, the wise and the wild, the higher and the lower. One seeks liberation. The other seeks laziness dressed as self-care. When your body begs for rest, can your spirit still rise? Consider this. How many promises have you broken? Not from lack of talent, but from lack of control. You weren't defeated by the world. You were defeated by cravings within your own mind. Witness the rebellion. Zen monks sit for hours in stillness, not because they enjoy it, but because it exposes the truth. When discipline arrives, your mind rebels. But that rebellion isn't you. It's a visitor, a test, a voice you don't have to obey. The secret? Don't identify with that voice. Watch it. Witness it. Treat it like a passing cloud. You don't follow every cloud, so why follow every thought? Choose growth over comfort. When the craving for distraction rises, pause, breathe, observe. Ask yourself, am I choosing growth or surrendering to comfort? Every moment you act with intention, not impulse, you win, not against the world, but against the part of you that fears greatness. This is the silent victory. No applause, no viral trends, just the rewiring of your destiny. Discipline is presence. Buddhism teaches that the mind is both the problem and the solution. When you reclaim authority over it, even once, the illusion of "I can't" begins to dissolve. Where are the cracks in your fortress? Where do cravings steal your freedom? Write this in the comments. I choose to be my own leader, not ruled by cravings, not fooled by comfort, not distracted from truth. Discipline isn't force, it's presence, peaceful, alert, unwavering presence. Build an unbreakable mindset. Discipline isn't about motivation. It's about choosing your future over your excuses every single day. This ancient Buddhist principle makes discipline easy and effective. A mountain does not bend to the wind. It teaches the wind to pass. True discipline looks like stillness, immovable calm, present and unshaken. But let's be honest, most of us aren't mountains. We're leaves, pulled by every distraction, shaken by every opinion, reacting to every wave of emotion. One setback, and we spiral. One insult, and peace vanishes. Train your mind to stay still in the storm. Here's the overlooked truth. A disciplined mind isn't hard to have. It's trained to remain still, even in the fiercest. This is where your transformation begins. If you're ready to elevate your mental game and embrace mastery over your mind, start here. Presence over impulse, growth over comfort. Every day. Buddhism doesn't encourage fleeing from chaos. It teaches you how to sit firmly in the eye of the storm without flinching. The Buddha said it best, like a solid rock that isn't shaken by the wind, wise people remain steady amid both blame and praise. This is the gold standard, the practice, the goal. Ask yourself, what storm keeps disrupting your peace? What recurring emotion hijacks your clarity time and time again? Let's get real. You don't need more motivation. What you truly need is stillness. Not passive stillness, but a powerful inner anchor, one that doesn't crumble when life turns loud and chaotic. Here lies the ancient secret, deliberate exposure to discomfort. That's it. This is the secret most avoid, because it demands effort. Wake up earlier than you want to. Sit in silence when your mind screams for distraction. Delay a craving just to prove to yourself you can. Each time you practice this, your mind reshapes, not by becoming weaker, but wiser, not tougher, but steadier. Discipline isn't about aggression, it's about being unmoved. Consider the monks who train in silence for hours, eyes open, back straight, no movement. Why? Because they understand. If you can remain unmoved by your thoughts, you can face anything life throws at you. Can you hold your stillness when everything demands your reaction? Can you feel cravings rise and not obey them? Can you sense anger knocking and refuse to invite it in? Most people let the world dictate their mood, but a disciplined mind creates its own weather. Make this your daily practice. Start small. When tempted to scroll, pause. When running late, breathe. When criticized, listen, but don't react. Every moment of resistance is mental training. You are building a mind that doesn't collapse. Because when you stop reacting to life and start responding consciously, you become like a mountain, unbothered by noise, unafraid of fire, unshakable in peace. This isn't about control, it's about freedom. Freedom not borrowed from perfect conditions, but built daily from within. So ask yourself, where is your stillness hiding? When do you fold instead of stand? Write this in the comments. My peace is not negotiable. This is the path. This is the ancient trick. It won't always feel comfortable, but it always works. Because in the end, discipline isn't about perfection. It's about presence. And once you build an unbreakable mindset, you don't chase peace anymore. You become it. 3. The choice to govern yourself. Your mind is like a wild elephant, powerful, unpredictable, capable of great things, but only if you learn to guide it. Left unchecked, it runs toward every craving, every distraction, every fleeting desire. But when you become its gentle master, that same mind transforms into a force of clarity, purpose, and peace. This is the ancient Buddhist key to self-discipline. Govern yourself, or be governed by the world. We chase external controls, schedules, goals, hacks, believing discipline lives outside of us. True mastery begins within. Until you govern your thoughts, your desires will govern you. Until you choose your responses, impulses will choose for you. Conquering oneself is greater than conquering 1,000 enemies. This isn't a metaphor, it's your blueprint for success. Think back. How many promises have you made to yourself, only to break them when comfort whispered, louder than commitment? You didn't fail because you lacked strength. You failed because you didn't pause. That pause, the space between impulse and action, is where discipline truly lives. Most people skip it. Buddhist masters teach that the first step to freedom is mindfulness, the ability to witness a thought without becoming. You feel the urge to react and you don't. You feel the craving to avoid effort and you choose not to follow it. Who's truly in charge here? Or your impulses? Can you pause before your next move and decide from clarity, not craving? This moment of pause is your training ground. When anger surges, don't speak. Pause. When your phone calls, don't immediately grab it. Pause. When fear grips you, don't shrink back. Pause. This isn't suppression, it's sovereignty. The wild elephant doesn't obey because it's chained. It follows the master who leads with patience and presence. Self-discipline isn't forged by force. It grows from inner leadership, guiding yourself with intention, compassion, and conscious choice. Start here. The next time you feel that strong pull to quit, lash out, or numb yourself, pause. Take a deep breath. Then ask yourself, what would the wisest version of me do next? Act from that place. Over time, this pause becomes your greatest power. You don't need more rule. You need more space. Space to see clearly. Space to choose. Because when you govern yourself, no one else needs to. The world doesn't push you. You move through it calmly, intentionally, freely. Where do your cravings still control your compass? Where are you reacting instead of responding? Comment below. I choose to pause before I proceed. This is how you reclaim control, not by resisting your mind with aggression, but by meeting it with awareness. Because in the end, discipline isn't restriction, it's liberation. And once you lead yourself with clarity, the wild elephant bows and follows. 4. True power comes from discipline. A river doesn't conquer mountains in one dramatic crash. It wins by returning every day, quiet, relentless, steady. That's real discipline. Not a burst of energy or a flash of motivation, but the consistent decision to show up, even when you feel nothing, even when no one sees, even when every part of you begs to stop. True power doesn't roar, it endures. In a world obsessed with intensity, quick results, and loud moves, Buddhism teaches that real power is subtle, silent, and built through repetition. Discipline is liberation, not punishment. Every time you act without waiting to feel like it, you untangle yourself from the chaos of emotion and external validation. He who has power over himself is mightier than he who conquers cities. That's the divide between drifting through life and shaping it. The first waits for the perfect mood. The second moves, regardless. Ask yourself, are you letting motivation decide your destiny? Are your goals at the mercy of your emotions? If yes, you're not weak, you're human. But there is a better way. Buddhism doesn't promise constant inspiration. It teaches you don't need it. Action doesn't have to be loud to be life-changing. It needs to be consistent. Discipline is self-respect. It's telling yourself, I am worthy of effort, even on days I feel empty. You don't brush your teeth only when you're excited. You do it because you know the cost of neglect. So why treat your purpose any differently? Start small. Wake up when you said you would. Do 5 minutes of what matters. Honor your word, not your mood. This is how a disciplined life is built, not in a day, but through thousands of silent moments, when no one's watching and nothing feels magical. That river, it doesn't crash, it carves, and so can you. Every repeated act, every workout, meditation, moment of writing, studying, reflecting, etches a path through resistance, until one day what once felt impossible becomes your default. What would your life look like if you trusted consistency more than intensity? Imagine the strength you'd build by committing to today, instead of chasing perfect days. Write this in the comments. I choose persistence over perfection. Because here's the trick no one tells you. Discipline makes life easier. It removes decision fatigue. It silences the emotional roller coaster. You no longer ask, should I? You simply do. And in that doing, you discover freedom. This is the ancient Buddhist path. Steady effort, no rush, no need for applause, just the patient carving of purpose, day by day, breath by breath. Because in the end, the strongest person isn't the one who moves mountains, but the one who returns to their path, no matter the weather. And that can be you, starting now. 5. Build discipline as a living ritual. Discipline is not a cage. It's not meant to suffocate your freedom or dull your spirit. Discipline is a temple, sacred, quiet, alive. The common mistake is treating discipline like punishment. We chase rigid schedules, force routines, and expect joy from obligation. But monks don't chant out of pressure. They chant out of presence. They vow not to impress, but to awaken. Their discipline is devotion. This ancient wisdom can transform how you approach every day. Your work is to discover your work and then give yourself to it wholeheartedly. And this isn't just about career. It's about your rituals, your mornings, your movement, your mindset. When discipline becomes a living ritual, you stop asking, "Do I have to do this?" and start asking, "How can I honor myself through this?" What if your morning walk became a form of prayer? What if making your bed was a declaration of clarity? What if every small, repeated action was a way to reconnect with your highest self? True discipline doesn't begin with pressure. It begins with purpose. Ask yourself, does your daily routine reflect your highest self or your lowest habits? Can you treat discipline as devotion instead of duty? You don't need to force your life like a machine. You need to treat your life like a ceremony. Create rhythms that reflect who you want to become. Start your day not with chaos, but with clarity. Light a candle. Breathe. Write. Move. These aren't just tasks. They are rituals that remind you I am worth showing up for. Discipline becomes easier when it becomes sacred. Monks don't find peace in the absence of routine. They find it through routine. Because when you consistently act with full presence, something shifts. Your mind quiets. Your resistance dissolves. Your identity begins to transform. That's the secret no one tells you. Discipline isn't the opposite of peace. It's the path to it. When your actions align with your values, your spirit rests. No more battle between what you say you want and what you actually do. Just harmony. You don't need a monastery to live like this. You need intention. Wake up at the same time, not because you have to, but because it teaches you self-trust. Begin your work not with scrolling, but with silence, because your mind deserves a gentle start. Wind down at night, not with noise, but with stillness, because your soul needs space to return to itself. Write this in the comments. My discipline is my devotion, because that is the shift, the ancient trick. Discipline becomes easy when it becomes sacred, when you stop forcing it and start honoring it. Don't turn routines into chains. Build them into rituals. And over time, that temple of discipline becomes the place where you meet your clearest, calmest, most powerful self, every day, without force, without fear, just devotion. 6. Conquer the moment, not the mountain. You're not losing to life because you're lazy. You're losing because you're overwhelmed, drowning in 1,000 thoughts about a mountain you haven't even started climbing. That's where most people break, not at the summit, but at the sight of the distance ahead. But here's the profound teaching from ancient Buddhist wisdom. You were never meant to conquer the entire mountain all at once. Just this step, just this breath. A master swordsman doesn't swing wildly to win. He sharpens his blade slowly, quietly, with full presence, one breath at a time. He wins not through intensity, but through focused attention. And so do you. The past is gone. The future hasn't arrived. There is only one moment to live, and that moment is now. This moment isn't tomorrow's goal, next month's promotion, or the person you're trying to become. It's the task directly in front of you. The next page, the next call, the next honest breath. This is the Buddhist trick. Don't serve the illusion of the future. Serve the truth of now. Ask yourself, what task right now deserves my full presence? Can you let go of the weight of future pressure and act fully in this moment? Discipline isn't about doing everything. It's about doing one thing completely. That is where your true power lives. Not scattered across a dozen half-finished tasks. Not in planning your entire year, but in the act you're avoiding right now. Your mind will try to outrun the moment. It will ask, But what about everything else? That's the trap. That's how the mountain wins. But you don't need to climb it all at once. You only need to take the step directly in front of you, and then another, and then another. Here's your challenge. Every day, pick one thing. Do it fully. Ignore the rest until that one thing is done. Turn off your phone. Close every other tab. Bring your entire being into the task. Whether it's writing, studying, meditating, or resting, be all. That's how you build unstoppable momentum. Most people wait for motivation to begin. Monks don't live by motivation. They live by mindfulness. They focus their energy like a sword, sharp, deliberate, present. No anxiety, no multitasking. Just pure, rooted presence. When you live like that, something incredible happens. You stop resisting. You stop rushing. The moment becomes enough. Discipline becomes effortless because it's no longer a fight, it's a flow. Write this in the comments. I conquer the moment, not the mountain. Because that's how real change happens. Not through pressure, but through presence. Your mind wants to worry about the summit. Let it. Then return your focus to your step. Sharpen your attention like a blade. Give everything to this one task. Let the rest of the journey unfold, one breath at a time. That is the secret of discipline, and it works every time. 7. Fall in love with repetition. They say repetition is boring, that doing the same thing every day feels like a prison. But in the monastery, repetition is freedom. A monk sweeps the floor, not to clean it, but to clean his mind. He bows the same way each morning, not out of duty, but out of devotion. In Buddhism, repetition isn't mindless. It's mindful. It's a path to clarity, not a cage of routine. Most people run from repetition. They crave variety, excitement, novelty. But here's the truth. You don't become powerful by doing more. You become powerful by going deeper. And you only go deeper through repetition. The act you repeat becomes the mirror through which you face yourself. The real battle isn't the task itself. It's your attitude toward the task. To understand everything is to forgive everything. If you truly understand why discipline matters, you stop fighting it. You stop seeing it as punishment. You start seeing it as purification. The ancient trick is this: fall in love with the thing you once resisted. Ask yourself, can you find peace in the repetition that once bored you? What task could become a meditation, if done with devotion? Because that's what discipline really is. Not a grind, but a meditation. A sacred ritual. Whether you're working out, writing, stretching, praying, or simply breathing, when done with presence, repetition becomes a spiritual act. It transforms you, not by pushing, but by polishing. Think of a musician repeating a single scale for hours. A sculptor chiseling the same motion. A martial artist practicing one strike until it becomes second nature. These aren't acts of boredom, they are acts of becoming. The beginner seeks stimulation, the master seeks stillness within repetition. Here's what most don't realize. Repetition reveals what's hidden inside you. Your restlessness, your resistance, your pride. But if you stay with it long enough, you'll discover stillness beneath it all. And that stillness is where your power resides. Let every routine become a ritual. Brushing your teeth, folding clothes, doing dishes, writing that email. Make these acts sacred. Not because they are inherently important, but because how you perform them shapes who you are becoming. This is where discipline is born, not in grand gestures, but in humble repetitions carried out with care. Tomorrow morning, don't dread your routine. Honor it. Let it anchor you. Let it be the floor you sweep to clear your mind. The breath you follow to come home to yourself. Every small repetition is a chance to practice presence, and that's what makes it powerful. Write this in the comments. I turn repetition into devotion. Because the difference between suffering and mastery is how you show up to do the same thing again. Fall in love with the Find grace in the mundane. Let every repetition refine you into the person you were meant to become. That's not just discipline. It's liberation. And yes, it works every time. 8. Win the first battle of the day. Most people lose the day before it even begins. The alarm rings, and instead of rising, they roll over. They reach for their phone before their breath. They react before remembering who they are. But in the monastery, morning is not something to survive. It's something to honor. Monks rise before the sun, not to punish themselves, but to align with a sacred truth. The way you greet the sunrise is how your soul answers life. This is the ancient Buddhist trick most of the world forgets. Win the first battle of the day, and the rest of the war becomes easier. Each morning, we are born again. What we do today is what matters most, not yesterday, not tomorrow. Yet we often drag yesterday's fatigue into today's opportunity. Discipline isn't about extremes, it's about how you show up when no one's watching. Ask yourself, do you command your mornings or surrender them to chaos? What if the first hour of your day was sacred? Because discipline begins not with what you do, but with how you begin. That first decision to rise instead of snooze, to breathe instead of scroll, to move instead of complain, is your declaration of self-respect. You're not just waking your body, you're waking your life. The monk bows at dawn, not because he's forced, but because he chooses reverence. Your morning is your temple, not a checklist, but a ceremony. Here's the truth. You don't need to win the whole day, just the first hour. That first breath of stillness, that first choice of alignment, that first step into motion, anchors the rest. Your nervous system remembers. Your mind calibrates. The day bends to the energy you set at the start. So wake before the noise. Breathe before the rush. Move before doubt has a voice. Even 5 minutes of silence, one act of intention, one courageous cold shower, these are enough to remind your mind who's in command. That's enough to shift your identity. Discipline isn't a distant trait, it's a daily decision. And if you lose the first hour, don't abandon the day. Return to your breath. Reclaim the next moment, because every second is a new sunrise when you're mindful. This is your challenge. Make the first battle of your day a win, not for productivity, but for power. Not to prove yourself, but to remember yourself. Write in the comments, I rise with purpose. Let the world sleep through life. You weren't made for that. You were made for clarity, for calm, for fire that starts in silence. Discipline doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with presence. Start your day on your terms and the rest of the day will answer to you. That's not just a habit. That's self-mastery. And it begins tomorrow. Ask yourself, what are you gripping so tightly that it's causing you suffering? The disciplined mind isn't just about relentless focus. It's about creating space. Like a Zen monk sweeping the same floor every morning. Not to clean dust, but to clear the mind. He's not obsessed with achievement. He's practicing release. In that stillness, something powerful unfolds. Clarity rises. Your best ideas don't come from tension, they come from presence. That's why sometimes the most powerful discipline is the ability to do nothing. To sit, breathe, feel, and allow. You're not lazy for resting. You're not failing for stepping back. Letting go of toxic effort is not giving up. It's realigning. It's choosing the sustainable over the dramatic. Discipline isn't always found in the sprint. It's often found in the pause. Can you practice discipline not by doing more, but by releasing what weighs you down? Let go of the need to be perfect. Let go of chasing every opportunity out of fear you'll miss your worth. Let go of trying to fix the past or control the future. Create a rhythm that honors your nervous system. Build systems that include space, because a mind that knows how to rest knows how to return. And that is what creates longevity. So today, make space, close the extra tabs, sit without music, walk without a destination, breathe without a goal. These moments of emptying are not breaks from discipline. They are discipline. This is the ancient Buddhist trick. Not every battle is won by force. Some are won by surrender. The clenched fist may look ready, but it cannot receive. Let this be your reminder. Discipline isn't just about how much you can carry. It's about how wisely you can release. Sometimes your next breakthrough won't come from pushing harder, but from finally letting go. So ask yourself one more time, what do you need to release right now to be free? 10. Master the art of inner stillness. Imagine your mind as a lake. On a stormy day, the surface is restless. Waves crash, reflections shatter. Everything feels chaotic. But when the lake is calm, it mirrors the sky with perfect clarity, revealing what lies beneath without distortion. This is the power of inner stillness, a sacred space where discipline is not frantic action but serene awareness. Many believe discipline means constant busyness, filling every moment with doing. But what if true discipline begins with learning to be still, to resist the urge to escape your thoughts or distract yourself from discomfort, and instead sit quietly with your own mind? Ancient Buddhist wisdom reminds us, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. In that quiet space, clarity arises, not from force, but from silence. Ask yourself, how often do you mistake busyness for progress? How many hours have you spent racing through tasks, checking boxes, yet feeling more scattered than accomplished? This restless motion is your mind's way of avoiding the uncomfortable truth. Real power lies in stillness. When you can sit with yourself in silence, even for just one moment a day, you train your mind to recognize what truly matters. You start to see distractions for what they are, and your actions become rooted in clarity, not chaos. Discipline, then, is not a constant battle or relentless push. It is gentle mastery over your own attention. It is the calm lake reflecting truth, even when storms rage around it. This stillness teaches you to respond instead of react, to pause instead of rush. It creates space between impulse and choice, allowing you to move with intention. Imagine waking up each morning and choosing to spend just 5 minutes in quiet, no phone, no noise, no agendas, just breath and presence. This simple ritual becomes the foundation of your day. It anchors your mind, sharpens your focus, and grounds your will. Over time, this habit builds resilience. The chaos of external pressures no longer pulls you off course because you've trained your mind to return to stillness. Discipline becomes effortless because it flows naturally from a place of inner calm, like a river that moves steadily without force. Your actions follow the clarity that silence brings. You no longer need to exhaust yourself chasing motivation or battling distractions. Instead, you cultivate a quiet strength that is unshakable. So today, make a choice. Choose to master the art of inner stillness. Let go of the need to fill every moment with noise or movement. Build one still moment into your daily life. In that pause, watch how your mind clears, your purpose sharpens, and your discipline transforms, not into a burden, but into a peaceful practice. Remember, the calm lake reflects your truest self, not the storm around you. Find that calm, and discipline will follow easily, naturally, every time. 11. Small choices are sacred. Every great ocean begins with a single drop. That drop may seem insignificant, a tiny ripple lost in a vast sea. But given time, it accumulates. It nourishes. It shapes the world. Discipline works the same way. It doesn't demand that you remake your entire life overnight or conquer impossible mountains in a single leap. Instead, it invites you to honor the small choices, those tiny actions that, when repeated, build unshakable momentum. The ancient Buddhist saying, "A jug fills drop by drop," reminds us that greatness is not a single event, but a collection of sacred moments, each one a step closer to mastery. Consider your own daily life. What micro-choice might you be overlooking, dismissing as too small or unimportant? Is it waking up just 5 minutes earlier? Saying no to one distraction? Choosing a single healthy meal? These aren't just tasks. They are sacred acts of self-respect, each one an affirmation that you are committed to your higher self. When you recognize the power hidden in these tiny moments, discipline stops feeling like a heavy burden and starts feeling like a gentle rhythm, a sacred dance you participate in daily. Imagine tracking one small win every day. It doesn't have to be monumental. Maybe it's finishing a single page of study, taking a mindful breath before reacting, writing a sentence in your journal. By celebrating these victories, no matter how small, you build a reservoir of confidence and purpose. Momentum isn't created by giant leaps, but by persistent, humble steps. Each small success adds another drop to your ocean of discipline, shaping a life of structure and calm from the inside out. This approach dissolves overwhelm. When you focus on the sacredness of the simple, the pressure to be perfect or productive at all times fades away. Instead, you cultivate a mindset that values consistency over intensity, presence over perfection. Discipline becomes less about willpower and more about reverence for your own journey. No matter how gradual, the ancient wisdom whispers, mastery is patient and gentle. It does not demand victory today, but promises growth tomorrow. So today, pause and ask yourself, what small choice am I underestimating? What tiny action can I honor as sacred? See that choice not as insignificant, but as a precious drop destined to fill your jug. Discipline doesn't require grand gestures, it thrives on respect for the small. By embracing these daily rituals with mindfulness, you create a foundation so strong that external chaos cannot shake you. Your life begins to flow like a calm river, steady and unstoppable. Remember, the path to self-mastery is paved by these simple acts. Discipline isn't about wrestling with your will every day. It's about falling in love with the sacredness of each small step. Start with one today. Cherish it. Watch how that single raindrop, repeated again and again, fills your ocean and makes discipline easy, natural, and unbreakable. Bonus lesson: make your mind your ally. The mind is a mirror, but one that must be cleaned daily to reflect truth clearly. Without care, it becomes smudged with doubts, fears, and distractions that distort your view of reality, and more importantly, your view of yourself. If you don't train your mind, it trains you. This is the ancient Buddhist trick that makes discipline easy. Learn to make your mind your ally, not your enemy. Discipline begins in the quiet space between your thoughts, where clarity and calmness emerge. When your inner dialogue is chaotic, filled with blame, worry, or harsh self-criticism, discipline feels like a battle. But when you cultivate calmness, clarity, and compassion within, discipline becomes natural, almost effortless. Think about your own mind right now. Quick summary of the principles of discipline and mind mastery. Discipline is an internal war. True discipline begins by conquering the inner battle between your higher self and impulsive desires. It's about rising above emotions and acting with intention. Awareness of your inner resistance is the crucial first step toward mastery. Build an unbreakable mindset. An unshakable mind stands firm through life's storms. By consistently exposing yourself to discomfort, you cultivate resilience, a foundation for unstoppable discipline and mental strength. The choice to govern yourself. Self-mastery means ruling your impulses rather than being ruled by them. With mindfulness and awareness, you lead your actions with wisdom instead of craving. This is the essence of inner freedom. True power comes from discipline. Discipline is not intensity or bursts of energy. It's quiet, persistent effort. Daily commitment builds strength over time, turning ordinary moments into extraordinary results. Build discipline as a living ritual. Make discipline sacred by treating it as a ritual of self-respect. When routines align with your values, they elevate rather than exhaust you. Purposeful habits create lasting transformation. Conquer the moment, not the mountain. Stay fully present in each task instead of being overwhelmed by distant goals. Mastering one moment at a time cultivates a disciplined, focused life. Everything meaningful begins in the now. Fall in love with repetition. Mastery emerges through devotion to repetition. Embrace the process rather than rushing results. Repetition is precision, not punishment, and it makes discipline peaceful and enjoyable. Win the first battle of the day. How you start your morning shapes your entire day. Taking charge of your first hour builds momentum, clarity, and control. It anchors a successful, disciplined life. The discipline of letting go. Discipline also means knowing what to release. Perfectionism, overthinking, and toxic effort. Letting go brings peace and flow. Sometimes surrender is the highest form of control. Master the art of inner stillness. Stillness is strength. Discipline flows effortlessly from inner calm, creating clarity and focus amidst chaos. A calm mind sees clearly and acts wisely. When you stop reacting and start responding from inner clarity, discipline becomes your natural state. Small choices are sacred. The consistent, small actions you take shape your destiny. Discipline isn't about giant leaps. It's about honoring the next right step every single day. Progress is the reward of daily intention. Make your mind your ally. Your thoughts create your discipline. By observing, cleansing, and directing your mind, you shape your entire life. A trained mind naturally walks the path of peace, focus, and self-control. Discipline is not punishment, pressure, or perfection. It's power. The power to choose yourself over distractions. The power to live from clarity, not chaos. The power to show up for your life with peace and purpose, day after day. This isn't a prison. It's your liberation. Each principle shared is not a rule to follow, but a way of being. A way to wake up, take control, and live fully aligned with your higher self. The world outside will always tempt you with noise. True control begins when you master your inner world. Silence becomes your strength. Stillness becomes your sword. Zen teaches us, when the mind is disciplined, the path becomes clear. The disciplined life is not rigid, it's deeply alive. It flows like water, but carves through stone. It lets go of what doesn't serve and focuses on what truly matters. This is how we become free. Take back your mornings. Reclaim your attention. Practice stillness. Respect the small wins. Do not wait for motivation. Build your rhythm and let discipline carry you beyond doubt. One choice at a time, you are sculpting your future. To control your life, control your mind. To master your mind, master your discipline. Let go of chaos. Embrace the calm. The time to take control of your life is now. Like and share this video. Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to Insightful Journey for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful, purposeful life.